The lower exposure to multiple creditors has enabled Ghana to inch closer to reaching agreements with its international and donor partners. According to the World Bank's April 2024 Africa Pulse report, the larger share of debt owed to non-Paris Club governments has not only complicated debt restructuring negotiations, but also raised the debt service burden. There's more in the following report.
The World Bank notes that as external debt restructuring is still in progress under the common framework in Ethiopia, Ghana and Zambia, the presence of multiple creditors, particularly private creditors and non-Paris Club governments, makes debt restructuring negotiations complex. In January 2024, the Official Creditor Committee reached an agreement with Ghana on the terms of the treatment of official bilateral debt. Debt restructuring negotiations allow the International Monetary Fund to conclude financing programs and the World Bank to provide large positive net flows at highly concessional or grant terms. It notes that Ghana has a relatively low exposure to loans from China compared to Zambia and Ethiopia, as the share of public and publicly granted external debt owed to China amounts to 36% in Zambia and 25% in Ethiopia. These high shares pose challenges for debt restructuring. The report continued that many low-income and low-middle-income countries in sub-Saharan Africa have accumulated debt burdens as reflected by their high levels of public debt and increased debt service. During the past decade, public debt increased rapidly and the composition of public and publicly granted external debt shifted from bilateral creditors to private creditors and non-Paris Club governments. Consequently, it said the larger share of debt owed to private creditors has not only complicated debt restructuring negotiations, but also raised the debt service burden. High policy rates in advanced economies have also recently further increased interest payments on debts. For instance, the shift in the composition of debt service from official to private creditors. As Ghana is currently undergoing a second review of its 3-year, $3 billion IMF support program, government is optimistic that the challenges in reaching an agreement with its bilateral and external creditors will be curtailed. For Citi Business News, my name is Netelinete Ajahu.